All right, hey folks, Kaya here. Today is day 200 and something or other on my journey to wellness. We're well over 7 months, possibly 8 months into my journey to wellness, as we are kicking cancer in the butt. Um, in June of 2020, I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. I've been through 16 rounds of chemo. I've been through hair loss. I've been through surgery and a major breast reduction. Uh, and today was my first day of radiation. And so I haven't made videos because I was kind of in a holding pattern, waiting for radiation to start. And today was the first day of that last push. So we're on our way up and we're coming out of this thing. As you can see, this is what hair is doing, such as it is. There's a bunch of gray in there. It's not new. I've had gray since I was 17, but it's a bunch of gray in there now, and it's chemo soft. So yeah, this is a new phenomenon for me. As you know, or you may know if you know me, of course I was a braid natural afro girl. I can't wait to get back to that, but we'll see what this soft hair does. I don't really know. So I'm typically either still wearing my turbans and wraps or caps, and or we are moosing this down and making it do what it do. So if you haven't seen, let me give you an update on these girls. This is where they are now, significantly reduced. They took about 4 pounds off of each one. And so this is where we are at this point. You haven't seen it because of how I film or whatever, but this is where we are with that. And so I'm doing well. I don't want to make it crooked, but I'm doing well. Time is progressing and we are moving on to healthy, whole, healing, wellness, all of that. We're moving on to better things. Over the last couple of weeks, because we are 3 months out of chemo, I've decided, we were in the house for most of the end of 2020, and had very little contact with the outside. And so over the last couple of weeks, I've been able to see some of my friends and some people I haven't seen in the whole year since COVID started. And it has really been a good week of just reconnecting with people, still masked up, still taking precautions, still keeping circles small, but to be able to get to see my people. Still ain't hugging, but to see faces and say, hey, how you doing? And to exchange those greetings has been great. As I mentioned, today was the first day of radiation. It was interesting. They actually approved me for the proton beam therapy. I think that's part of a clinical trial or something, and not regular radiation. And so today we went in, and it was mostly simulated today. They didn't give me any radiation, but I had to go through the motions today, I guess, to get set up. And tomorrow they'll actually start with the radiation, but today we went through all of the steps. It was a little painful in that, if you keep your shoulders up above your head for 20-30 minutes, they start to burn, and it's really uncomfortable. And they want you to be very still, and they want you to not move, because if you move, it changes where the radiation is going and all of that. And after about 20 minutes today, I'm like, hey, these shoulders are burning. What can we do about that? Because, naturally you start to fidget, trying to get some relief. And, like, Miss Hayes, you got to be still. And I'm like, but listen, how bad this is starting to hurt. So I have to call tomorrow to see what can be done What is there something that should be taking to relax a little more? What would be able to help me to be still in this process? I kept reminding myself, after you lay there and you go through your scriptures and you sing your songs in your head and you do your thing, you start to concentrate on, wow, this is really starting to hurt, and this is really burning, and this is really uncomfortable, and you start to think of all of those things. And I started to remind myself, hey, you're not 4 years old, you can be still. But it is hard to do. And so we're on our way through that. I have 30 treatments to do, which is all of 6 weeks, and I still intend to work through the process. So we'll be working most of the day and then taking off a couple hours to go do the radiation 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, for 30 treatments for the next 6 weeks. So that is what we're going to do for that. That's my last big push until, there will be maintenance and a hormone drug that I'll be on for the next 5 years. But as far as the active treatment, etc., the radiation is it. I did have to go last week to get my chemo port flushed. They're not taking it out right now. They're kind of waiting to see how things go and whatever. I guess they wait for some space and time to make sure that all goes well before they remove the port. So that is in case they need to go back and use it for something. So every 6 weeks or so, I do have to go get my chemo port flushed. And so I had to do that last week as well. But things are going well. Things are looking up. I've enjoyed the break, the space and time where I didn't have to, be running back and forth to appointments, where I was just able to work and be. But in all of that, I was anxious to get started, because the quicker we start, the quicker I can be done and say that we're finished, right? So, I'm glad that we're finally starting this last big push. I saw a post from a friend of mine, my old college roommate, who has gone through a very similar treatments as I have. She's had the 16 chemos and the surgeries and the radiation and she's finished. But her post talked about how people want you to be okay regardless of whether you really are or not. And I found that to be true in this journey. It gets old after a while to continue we've been in it for 6, 7, 8 months or whatever that number is, and it gets old. You get tired of talking about it. People get tired of hearing about it. And as bad as they want you to be okay, sometimes you have good days, sometimes you have bad days. I can honestly say that over the last couple of weeks, I've had more good days than bad. But there are still days where you're in a fog, or you get real tired, or the neuropathy starts to creep or your joints start hurt. Today I had breast pain I haven't had it in who knows how long, but it every day kind of brings something new. And so you just have to encourage yourself when you're tired of talking about it, when people don't want to hear the ugliness of it, when that all people really want for you is for you to be okay, when people are sick of you talking about it, you just kind of have to encourage yourself. You find those scriptures that encourage you. I press toward the mark, and just keep pushing, and know that I run to the rock when my heart is overwhelmed, when I'm sick of myself and I'm tired of it all. I run to the rock and say, God, what can we do about this? And then I start to remember and remind myself of how good he's been throughout this whole process, and how great his reputation is, and how he's carried me every step of the way. And then I can't help but be energized and happy and grateful and thankful, because of how far we've come, or how far I've come. And so that's that. That's the end of the video. I just wanted to give an update. Thank you for everybody again who's been there. I had an old coworker who sent me a card, and I texted her to thank her for the card and gift. And, you know, it just warms my heart and blesses me. Some of the things that people have said that I didn't expect. And so, Linda Lou, thank you so much. And for everybody who is with me on this journey, I see people and they're like, I'm watching you, I'm pulling for you, I'm praying for you. You know, those things matter. And so thank you for doing that. And I'll let you know next week how radiation is going and what's happening. I will commit to next week. Okay. Thank you guys. Talk to you later.